Have you ever watched someone's arrogance backfire spectacularly? My wife comes from wealth, and her family has a dynasty. They never understood why she married me, because to them, I was Jimmy the janitor. Though my name is James, and they know I'm a maintenance worker at a local college, Harold, my father-in-law, made sure I felt small every chance he got. At every family dinner, he'd joke about how Melissa married beneath her, and how James here couldn't tell fine art from finger painting. Vivian, my mother-in-law, never said much, just gave me looks that said she silently agreed. But the worst was Preston, Melissa's older brother. He didn't hide his contempt, always calling me Jimmy, never James, as if using my real name would give me too much dignity. Last Thanksgiving, Harold stood up and proudly announced his upcoming retirement gala. With a smug grin, he said he'd commissioned a sculpture from none other than J.R. Maxwell, a sculptor the whole family adored. He boasted about this real craftsman, then shot a glance at me and smirked. Maybe you can learn something, Jimmy. You know, besides fixing toilets. Everyone laughed. I kept quiet, feeling the sting, but said nothing. They didn't know. I was J.R. Maxwell. I didn't say anything like usual, and just let them be. The weeks after, Harold had me help with the gala prep. Preston barked out orders like he was a foreman. I rewired lights, and I bolted down stands. At one point, he tossed me a pair of gloves and said, "Make sure the sculpture doesn't get smudged. It's worth more than your yearly salary." I nodded, pulled on the gloves, and turned my back before they saw the smile. Each night, I returned to the studio, working on that same sculpture, the one they kept bragging about. I had taken the commission anonymously months ago, under J.R. Maxwell. Melissa didn't even know. It was my final piece before retiring the name for good, and it was my response to every sneer, every time they looked through me. Finally, the night arrived. Harold gave his speech, full of words like legacy and vision. Then he said it. "I'm honored to present a piece by the great J.R. Maxwell. Let's welcome him now." The room hushed. Every head turned. I stepped forward from the shadows near the back, adjusted the tie Preston said I'd never wear right, and walked onto the stage. "My name is James Robert Wilson," I said, holding the mic steady. "Some of you know me better as J.R. Maxwell." Gasps rippled through the crowd. I turned and pulled the sheet. The sculpture stood like a wave of metal and light, smooth arcs twisting around jagged edges. If you looked closely, you could see it. The tight shoulders of someone holding back words, the curve of someone shrinking into the background. I had shaped every slight and every silence into something they couldn't ignore. The applause came like a wall of sound, and from that moment on, the jokes stopped. The laughter faded. The next dinner, Harold called me James. Preston avoided my gaze. Vivian greeted me politely. They finally saw me, not just as a janitor, not as a name to mock, but as someone they could never look down on again.